Hello everyone, welcome to Scorcher Toys at anymoon.com's transformation guide for Yamato's 1/60 scale version 2 VF-1 toy, as well as the Arcadia reissues and versions of the 1/60 scale VF-1 toy. Today we are going to go from Battroid mode back to GERWALK and ultimately fighter mode. If you're shopping for these toys, there's a little Macross licensing thing, makes it a little bit tricky. If you're shopping for anything else, I buy my stuff at Big Bad Toy Store and I encourage you to do the same. Click the link in the comments below and you will help this channel out in the process. To begin, you're gonna take your toy, you're gonna spin it around, you're gonna open the wings up. That's gonna give you access to this area back here. And I've fold that flap over. And all we're gonna do is just apply a little pressure up, and that's gonna pop that door free and bring the hips out. And now as we bring our hips out, there are two little pegs inside of the nose. And what we wanna do is just tap the nose to get those pegs to swing down. And once they are in that low position, then we're gonna close that door back up, and then you'll see that plugs up the holes for the hips. If you have an older version of the toy, the crotch lock is much more finicky. Make sure you pop back the chest sort of early in that step process, because you're gonna need to use the angle of this hinge here to help you get things free. Then get your toy and you wanna just kind of push up at an angle to get that to pop free. So there you go, so it's popped free. And then once you've got it popped free, you wanna try to shimmy forward, and then that gets that hinge freed up. And once again, you're gonna pop those little nose cone pegs down and close that up. Looking at the top of the toy, you may have this hook engaged to keep the backpack super tight. At this point, you would pop that hook free. I tend not to use it because I don't like these little nubs pushing so hard into that white paint. But you can also take this backpack here, this flap, I should say, and pull that up so it's now free. You can actually bring that free. And then just bring that backpack up like so. That's all you really need. Then we're gonna take our head and we're gonna turn it around. We're gonna bring our head lasers forward, like so. And then we're gonna lift the head and we're gonna rock it up. Now the head might disconnect at this point and pop off in your hands. No big deal if it does, just put it back on. So now that we've got the head like that, we can take the head and we can angle it forward and it will come through underneath. Now, you do need to get it in the right spot. There we go. So then as we fold the toy over, that head won't be exactly in the perfect spot, but it's generally in the right position. And now this frees up our chest so that it's free moving. And we can take that heat shield now and just kind of press it down and in, and then slide it back. And this is, it's always a little tricky. It's on, a runner on either side. It's a little stiff. So you can check yourself. So I'm running in my nose cone a little bit there. So try to get it at an angle where it's freed up. And we'll go all the way back for you. There you go. Wiggle, jiggle. Okay, so now that's all the way recessed in there. Again, get the toy flipped over. We can bring that chest kind of lined up and bring it back. And at this point, we're also gonna rock the nose cone forward. We're just pulling forward a little bit. And we can bring this door back down and lock that chest into place. And you probably pulled this too far forward. And so now you're just gonna settle it back in place and there should be no white showing. If you're hoping to go to GERWALK mode, you are definitely gonna wanna do this step. If you're going to fighter mode, watch for the hip intake settlement because you'll need that, but otherwise you can skip most of this. We're gonna take our legs and we're gonna bring them forward like so. We're also gonna extend the knee to get that further extension, and we're gonna bring the foot out and sweep it back like so. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side here. Get that GERWALK joint. Now what we want to do is bring these hips forward. You can see there are clips up here in the front that are going to receive that bar. We also have slots here and here that receive pegs here and here. So just bring that up and forward. You're gonna have to rotate the hips as you do that. Nice swinging motion there. It should peg right into place, and then you'll need to seat those intakes so that they're flush against that bar with both those sets of pegs settled in like so. Then you can move your head back and into a more natural position, get those guns how you would like them, and we can flip our toy over and continue from there. Complete the transformation to GERWALK mode by flipping your backpack down. You're going to close your wings up a little bit so you can rotate your shoulders up, and then you can press them down and you can rock this armor on top outward a little bit, and then that will allow you to have the clearance to bring those wings back forward again and still play with your hands and your arms in a natural position. And there you are in GERWALK mode. We can enjoy it. There's really not much fine tuning you have to do, and then we can continue on to fighter mode. Transformation to fighter mode begins at the hands, and what we're going to do is pop open this trap door here. We're going to close the hand up as best we can so that it's we're worried about it being thin more than anything. Then we're just going to fold it over, fold it into place, press it firm so that this is a flat panel here, close the door back up, and repeat on the other side. Now we want to maneuver the arms into the right position. So what you want to do first is get it in the right position for fighter mode, which is like so. And then we're going to take the arm, and you want to have the shoulder coming around and then being in the front. So once we've got that in position, we're going to lift up because there is a stopper right behind the hinge there. So we're going to lift up and begin sliding this around. And once we get here, we're going to start tipping the arm over as we slide it and bring it forward into place. And then you can see it goes all the way forward and kind of settles into position. Now, obviously, the first arm you do this with is going to be a lot easier than the second one because the second one will run into the first one. But again, we're going to lift up, slide back, and then as we get here, we're going to rotate over. And now we're going to use that rotation to get everything into place. And you may find it's better to unhinge the intakes at this point, but you can do it without that. So here you go. I've got that hinge now flat and straight up against the other hinge on the other side. Once I've done this, I need to make sure that I'm within this housing here for the arms, and you can see I'm not on this side. So let's get that together. And by pushing that in and pushing that down, you can also peg in the arms to each other. If you're going to be playing with your toy in fighter mode, this is when you want to put that gun into position as well. And let's see, do we have our shoulders in the front lined up? Not so hot. So this is when you also want to try to line things up in front. So there we go. So get your shoulders right where you want them to be before you move on with your life. And there they go. They look pretty good now. Flat in the back, flat at the front. And we can just go ahead and work with our legs, which are going to close, collapse, bring down. We're going to collapse that extension there. We're going to continue to bring down. And then there's this peg here that's going to be received by that slot there. So just push that down, clip into place. Do the same thing with the other leg. Now we're on to the step I like least about transforming these toys, and that's getting this backpack flush. And it's got a double hinge with incredibly tight tolerances. So what we want to do is, before we just try to bang this into place, we want to bring it up and on top of this housing here by put a little pressure up. Make sure you've got this backpack flap folded in and pop it into place like so. And then that's going to make it so when you bring it down like this, the ball in the front that's holding that flap doesn't pry itself up against the housing and break. So once you've done that, you can go ahead, push the backpack tabs or the leg tabs into the backpack, and then just pull your vertical stabilizers out, press this one in so there's no gap, and there you go. You've made it to fighter mode. Obviously, you can remove these intake fan covers. Could have done that in GERWALK mode. Probably going to need to adjust those head lasers because you've been handling the toy. Everything else should be super nice and tight, should handle great, and you have made it. I have full scans of the instructions. If any steps along the way got you lost, Check out anymoon.com, subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching.